And hello again, and welcome to another scene set in the diplomatic offices of the Grand Palace of Edessa, where Oric has neatly set himself up in a fairly large office area, a large ornate desk, the same one in which he met the Assamite that has just recently entered the city, Gil. He has called the members of his clan and, by extension, court for a little meeting to just get a few less pressing matters out of the way. And you'd both be let in. His goal knows you and you'd know him, so he would just let you in. It's not like when he met the Assamite where he verifies. With you, he just gives you a curt nod and lets you in. Doesn't change facial expression. Still looks like a very rigid, very expressionless man.
Madeline will just get in and sit down, having her normal, should we say, diplomatic smile on, and we'll just give a nod to everyone and then just go in and sit down.
Orsini quickly shows up. He's carrying a large leather-bound book, and on top of it a small ink pot and a quill. And he sits down, puts the book safely on his knees, greets the members of his clan, and awaits for the Baron to speak, because that's how polite.
So, my friends, I believe we have a few small matters to discuss. I hope it won't take us all too long. I'm sure we've got more important things we'd rather be doing.
Well, I do believe that spending time with the Baron is on the top of my list of things to do. She says she shoots him a smile.
And I have to collect the gossip and the boons of the city. And the most interested person should be the Baron.
Oric smiles at the flattery. Well, well then, I suppose I should indulge.
Orsini did bring me on a little trip not too long ago. Yeah.
I could count it as the most successful nights that our clan had, after the one in which you were appointed Baron. Our influences
Well,
spread throughout the city, and no doubt that the talents of our sister proved more than useful on more than one occasion.
She smiles, and then she'll just. Have you heard from Orsa since we spoke? Since we met him?
Haven't yet, but there is still time. But let us narrate the adventures of that night to our brother. And if you do not mind, I shall begin.
Please, go ahead.
Like our sister said, dear brother, dear Baron, a couple of nights ago we went on a little excursion through the streets of Edessa. You've undoubtedly heard about the gang of smugglers that call themselves the Brotherhood of the Euphrates.
Oracle said again. Sorry, what did you what did you just say? And
I asked you about the Brotherhood of the Euphrates. If you heard of them.
And since you have discussed them, yes, you know of them.
he fought them, so yes. I am aware of them.
Well, they are facing an internal struggle. You might remember, I've mentioned it before. I met with one of their leaders. Well, actually, we met with one of their leaders. And apparently, he's a very interesting character. He was glad to hear that the foul, loathsome creature, Ursini, pretends to spit, but doesn't produce anything. But the fucking Rachnos is no longer, so the threat to his brothers is no more. And he swore allegiance. But from the look on his face, he was good before. As far as my sister discovered, he was a ghoul of a gangrel. I chose to use my blood to bound him, and he has sworn fealty to our clan and our baron in exchange for helping him gain control of his brotherhood smugglers. And you probably heard that they are good fighters and efficient merchants. We might boost the vaults of Edessa to our advantage using them. And mortal thugs, mortal as they may be, still find their uses in numbers.
A mercenary army that knows loyalty. This is good to hear.
Well, we still, of course, have to make sure that he gets, what shall we say, more than one drink, but I think that's fairly arranged.
We need to investigate this matter further. His memory is cloudly, but he was a ghoul before. Maybe we can find out what happened to the Canaanites that came before us in the city.
Well, he did also mention that a part of his brotherhood after the run-in with the gangrel was less happy, shall we say. He thought he knew what had happened and was hoping to meet one of us again to regain the strength that we offer. But the others seems to have, well, called an imam from somewhere to help them against this unholiness, this presence in the city. Something we might be, well, something we should probably be careful about. All the more reason to help him.
We avoid the religious scandal in the city, and we gain an army of loyal thugs that can turn, in case of need, into an army of loyal ghouls that shall help us maintain the silence of the blood, as well as our control in the city, not to mention the fact aid us in raids against the Turks during the day.
Sure. If we can, if it is possible to have them, well, to have Orsam get more than one drink, yes, then they will be very good. Once we get all the complications out of the way.
He had the face and the attitude of a drunkard, missing his pitcher of wine. The moment when the hunger strikes again, he'll know where to find me, and he'll find me in due time. for all intents and purposes, we can consider half of his brotherhood as ours already. They even decided to change their name should we win. Stop calling themselves the Brotherhood of the Euphrates, start calling themselves the Shadows of the Euphrates, in honor of their benefactors.
Auric seems amused. It should be known I appreciate the progress you've been making. This is more than I expected in such a short amount of time. Speaking of Drunkstow, did you receive the man I sent you, Father Jack?
We met him later in the evening.
Interesting character, to say the least. And though I meant no insult, brother, it is our sister who will handle him. She is more entitled to such an important ghoul. Not to mention the fact that I have a certain allergy to members of the cloth.
Ah, yes, my apologies, I forgot that. The clergy are a matter of controversy for you. If I murder, if you do not intend to accept this individual, I would honestly prefer to go him myself. I have certain uses for him that I wish to put into motion. I mean, no offense, but he was intended for you.
Then why not leave him to our sister? I know you have uses for him, as all three of us do. But still, it would be a useless risk to have one of your personal ghouls in such a delicate position. Keep your herds and your ghouls to your own, brother. It is for the better.
Auric thinks on this for a moment.
If I may, my Baron.
Auric just nods to you.
It is your decision, of course. But in a way, I can see our brother's perspective. The more secure your holdings, your ghouls, your herd is, the less exposed you are, the better. But he is an official position and is essentially a. It would make sense that he would ask to answer to you, but well, the choice is of course yours. I can see some reason for your wish, but also for our brothers. But I cannot truly say. If you want him for your own, he is yours.
Not to mention the fact that this mad friar should act and will act as the crier for our kind in the city. And from what he bragged, he might actually be efficient in his endeavors. You have your master of harpies as your ears and your seneschal as the voice. Do not expose yourself to useless risks, brother.
That is
Very
only.
well. If you wish to,
It is assuming that the parent is not privy this man to any needless details. If he only says to him, proclamate this to our kind, there is really no risk for the Baron. But again, it is not my decision.
Well, if you truly wish to keep hold of him,
No, I do not wish to keep hold of him. I wish to have this city run the best it can. By you at its helm, however I can help. And well, in the situation, given Orsini's undying love for the clergy, she smiles. I thought it would be, well, I saw the problem and the potential complication of this, well, development, so I simply did what was prudent at the time.
sorry, I just need that question asked and answered because I think did Nora catch on to that? No,
Not quite.
similar but not the same. Okay,
It's not the same. It's a bit different.
all right.
So,
Well, to be
Well-
frank, I don't see any particular problem in you holding on to him, and if the individual if if the individual I gifted this land to wishes to hand him on, then I don't see any particular issue.
as long as influence stays within the clan, it is of little importance who's the Domitor and who issues the orders.
This is true.
I'm quite certain I could maintain him with my current. Well, I do have a couple of well, servants at this moment, but one more should not be a problem.
Should you require additional vessels, sister, you know where to find my girls. They took
No,
a particular liking to you.
well, are they?
Some of them have asked about my sister, and unless they were talking about you, I'm not aware of any other sisters I have.
Well, that is hopefully kind of them. Oh well. No, it will not be necessary. Not at the moment. I am well. For the moment, I have done some things. I have had a certain, shall we say, well, charity going for some time, and I shall begin to hope to gain a bit more, gain more ears among the common people in the coming weeks. I hope to be able to listen more to what they say and feel.
Unless you have anything to add on the matter, I think there are other matters that need to be settled.
Speaking of mortal movements, you may want to know that emissaries from Byzantium will be arriving here shortly. We should be expecting a contingent to deal with these Turks.
I have more than a working knowledge of Greek and their ways. Your robes did not come from the sea, brother. They came from Byzantium. Should you need aid in discussing with the Byzantines, let me know.
Tell me, it's a mortal contingent that comes to help with ousting these Turks. There is no. Is there any other contingent we should know about?
If they come bearing large boxes, we need to keep our eyes open.
Well, if it is only mortal soldiers, it will not be that much of a problem. Well, unless they think that we should supply these soldiers, I do not think that is the case.
Byzantines are a weird lot. They're sneaky little bastards. And they like to poke their nose in other people's business. We should be on our feet.
I shall keep an eye on them, though there's nothing to suggest that this is a Canaanite matter right now. It appears to be strictly related to the recent raids on our own territory. We'll keep our ears to the ground, no doubt. It should also be noted on a separate matter that the Assamite, I'm going to try and remember his name, Adil Abdur Rashid ibn Ali, has been granted the hospitality within the city, and here he's been given a small domain in exchange for 2 major boons owed by the clan Assamite, or those that reside within the city, of course.
And you see Orsini opening up his large book, dipping his quill in the inkpot, and writing word for word what you just said. Because eidetic memory, bitches. And Orsini closes the book, and you see there's a lock on it. As he puts the book down, and the inkpot and the quill on top of them, you see him reaching underneath his shirt, where you can visibly see 3 thin silver chains, and he pulls 2 of them, and as he pulls them you see small keys on their ends, and he hands one to Ulrich and another to Madeline. This is the Harpies ledger of Edessa. All boons owned, all debts of honor, all duels and all news, all traditions, old ones that have passed through the blood and new ones that the Baron wishes to institute in our city shall be written down. It is just the 3 of us that will have access to it. Should anyone else, except the 3 of us, open it, we shall see it as an act of treason against the personal security of the Baron.
Make sure to hold on to it.
I ordered it big, strong, and leather bound. Most people I know could barely move it.
Such is the burden of your responsibility.
I try to avoid big books because big books usually cause a lot of trouble. But such is the nature of my work. Unless you want to add anything else, there is another small matter I wished handled, brother, if you do not mind. There is the small issue of domain. I find myself lacking in it, and I do not wish to insult you in any matter. But I observed who received domain in which areas of the city. If memory serves me right, It is just our sister that received domain in the merchant's quarter. Am I correct?
This is correct.
And how about we make that quarter the La Sombra stronghold in the city, official or not? You have your castle, but things change, and our clan might grow, and we need a secure point. I would be bold enough as to request domain around my establishment, possibly bordering the one of my sister, so that slowly but surely Clan La Sombra gets the whole quarter, and we have a little place to call home.
Well, that would be quite an advantage for us if we were to claim the entire merchant's quarter. Well, not now, but at some point. Under our
We
sway.
have the money, we have the money, we have the merchants, we have the docks bordering the Euphrates. We can get out of the city quick, in the city quick. We can get anyone or anything inside or outside the city under the veil of night to a safe haven of our clan. No questions asked, no answers given. Not to mention the fact that I wouldn't like my girls to intrude on the territory of another.
Well, they would not be
Heard-
intruding, they would only be visiting. It is quite alright.
Yes, but your territory is one thing, and territory of other, less open-minded clans would be a different thing, sister. Let's not start a turf war in our city when we have enough problems coming from outside the walls. So,
Alright.
go ahead.
Oh no, it might be better if you speak first.
So, dear Baron, dear brother, will you be so kind as to grant my request?
I see how much we talking? Half?
Roughly.
Roughly, okay.
Maybe out of character, yeah, about half. But
About, yeah, okay.
it,
Oryx actually got the borders quite neatly drawn up on a map. So, you know, the Prophet's Call towards Morist entirely outlined, and under it is Simafu's and Old Town has outlined in its entirety, even though it was outlined on the parchment itself. So Ulrich begins outlining your area, yeah, which equates to half. So there's only about a quarter of the district left for overtaking. And Ulrich says,
so I get. So he's drawing on the map in front of them, like physically.
He takes it out of a desk, and he seems to sketch it out, like, you know, he's not actually. He kind of gives the impression that he hasn't granted it to you yet, like he's just confirming almost.
So and you see Ursini coming closer. So if I get this part, and our sister gets this part, and our dear father gets this part, that's how we settle the whole merchant's quarter. Cover it in shadow, so to speak.
I would be willing to grant your request for a single major boon. The merchants district is quite large, and we are beginning to grow a bit thin on space when it comes to matters of domain.
And as Orsini goes over to grab his ledger, and how should Clan La Sombra repay you, dear Baron?
This shouldn't be over the entire clan now. Just yourself. Don't worry, I did not intend to perform any cruel acts. I am no tyrant.
He opens his ledger and you can see over his shoulder that he writes Fabio Orsini owes Baron Aldrich Ashwood 1 major boon for granting domain in the Merchant's Quarter, yada yada yada. And you see his large, very official signature underneath it as to acknowledge that he truly owes it.
The literary glory of the Venetians.
Actually, to make this even better, he's gonna go towards one of the candles and pour some wax underneath his signature and use his signet ring. You see the not very ornamented in this point of history coat of arms of the House of Orsini of Venice.
Madeline just sits there and looks at the two and just sees this deal being struck. She just seems to smile and sit back a bit and just watch this going.
Unless there is anything else, brother, I think it's a fine night for you to maybe hold court. Maybe there are others that wish to speak their mind to the Baron. Others that wish to meet you.
Indeed. I shall hold brief public meetings for those that wish to discuss any additional matters with me.
Well, you have your ears and your voice for you. So you just have to sit here and act pretty.
Yes. Should any arrive, no doubt my girl shall see them in.
My Baron, do you require me to be present?
It would be most appreciated if you could.
Of
to
course.
provide additional insight.
Well then, I'll let our crier know that the Baron holds court this evening, and he gets a small piece of paper, writes something on it, and puts it in one of his pockets, and he closes the ledger and puts the lock on it, and put this in a safe place, and I shall return shortly. And I think we can break the scene here.
Yes, we can.